What's good, y'all? The Bradley Beal era is officially over in Phoenix. This morning, he was bought out by the Phoenix Suns and is now signing a 2-year, $11 million deal with the Los Angeles Clippers. That second year is a player option, though. And a little over a week ago, rumors of Bradley Beal and the Clippers started to kind of roam around after they traded Norman Powell away in a 3-team trade that got back John Collins. And it was talked about that if Bradley Beal were to be bought out, the Clippers were kind of the picture-perfect destination for him, and that's exactly what happened. And I know Bradley Beal has a lot of narratives around his name right now, considering what we saw in the last few seasons in Phoenix. I just want to quickly talk about that real quick before I talk about his potential fit with the Los Angeles Clippers. I'm going to just come out and say it. Bradley Beal is a good basketball player. And I know there's at least a small percentage of fans that are watching this right now thinking, what are you talking about? Everything I've heard about Bradley Beal says that he is trash, he is terrible, he got benched in Phoenix, like he shouldn't be a good basketball player. That's just factually incorrect. If you look at the numbers of Bradley Beal, he had a very solid season last year. I think when people add the context of the rest of Bradley Beal and make it more about just him as a basketball player, that's where the bad connotation comes around his name. Because, was he worth $55 million a year? Hell no. Definitely not. Was he worth the 5 or maybe even more multiple draft picks that the Phoenix Suns gave up in the trade for him? No, definitely not. But is he a good basketball player still? Yes. I think a combination of the amount of money he was paid, the amount of assets that the Phoenix Suns gave up, and then the lack of success they had, all that wrapped up kind of made Bradley Beal an easy scapegoat. Was he very disappointing for the Suns? Yeah, probably. Is he a good basketball player, though? Yes, and I really wanted to stress that before talking about him now with the Los Angeles Clippers. And I gotta say, the Clippers are moving amazingly right now. This offseason, they have hit it out of the park every single move they've made so far in my eyes. They re-signed James Harden to a longer deal. I think he's under contract now for the next 2 seasons. They re-signed Nick Batum. Then they brought in Brook Lopez. They made that trade for Norman Powell. So essentially they traded Norman Powell and a second-round pick. And in replacement, they got back John Collins and Bradley Beal. You get an upgrade at the shooting guard position of Norman Powell to Bradley Beal. And then you get a starting power forward for a second-round pick. Like, all in all, the asset movement, the signings, just the Clippers are having an amazing offseason. And now that all the dust has settled, their starting lineup probably will look something like James Harden, Bradley Beal, Kawhi Leonard, John Collins, and Zubac. And then off the bench, they still have a very solid 5-man lineup where you have Chris Dunn, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Derrick Jones Jr., Nick Batum, and Brook Lopez. Like, that top 10 right there, your 10-man rotation, top to bottom, elite. When I made my video about the Norman Powell trade, I did mention that the Clippers kind of, as of right now, lacked another ball handler. It was basically James Harden, and that was about it. You know, maybe Kawhi Leonard kind of with some ball handling, but they didn't really have a lot. You know, Bogdanovic, whatever. Now bringing in Bradley Beal, it perfectly replaces what Norman Powell brought, but also to a higher level. I think Bradley Beal is a much better ball handler. His three-point shot, he shot it incredibly well last year. He was never a shooter in his career, I would say. Like, I do think Norman Powell is a better three-point shooter, but as a all-around shot creator and offensive player, Bradley Beal, I'm taking him 10 times out of 10. Before this move happened, I had different tiers just kind of made up in my mind of the Western Conference. Of course, on the top tier, I had the reigning champion OKC Thunder. I had the Houston Rockets, who were the 2 seed last year, super young team, added Kevin Durant and a lot of other, around the edges moves. I really like them. They were up there. And then I did have the Denver Nuggets in that top tier, and then I had like a few other teams tier below. Right now, though, I think the Los Angeles Clippers are kind of creating their own tier right below that. I'm going to take Denver out of that top tier, so it's just Houston and OKC up there, and in that tier right below them, I'm going to put Denver, and I'm going to put the Los Angeles Clippers. I think that they are really, really good and are poised to have a great season next year. But honestly, what I really love about this move and just kind of the complete offseason of the Clippers as of now is their lineup versatility. I really, really like the amount of lineups they can run out there. I'm sure we're going to see some James Harden and just defenders around him type of lineups where it's James Harden, Chris Dunn, and like the bench mob. You know, you have maybe a John Collins out there with him, Derek Jones Jr., you know, whatever center they want to run, and just kind of let him rock out. I think we're going to see a lot of duo minutes of Kawhi Leonard and Bradley Beal together to have them kind of play off each other and kind of relieve each other and just play that two-man game of like, all right, Kawhi, you're going to create some offense. Now, Bradley Beal, you'll be that secondary ball handler. I really am interested in that. But they can go small. They can go big. They can go defense first, shooting first, run fast. I really like this Clippers lineup, and I usually am a guy that is not too high on the Clippers, usually because of Kawhi Leonard and his question marks around his health. Now he has some other guys to kind of shoulder the offensive burden, because when he was playing last year, like I said, he looked incredibly good. It was kind of just him and James Harden out there on offense. You know, Norman Powell did have a career year, but you replace him with Bradley Beal, and I just love their chances to kind of ease it for each other and kind of just play off each other a lot better. And I can't believe I waited to this part of the video to bring it up, but Bradley Beal is going from making $50 million a year to $5.5 million a year. I cannot overstate enough how big of a deal that is just for his perception, and also I'm sure him as a person kind of just relieving some of that pressure off. He went his whole career being in Washington. He was the guy in Washington. He gets traded for this big lump sum of picks, super high expectations, the new big three of Book, KD, Beal, they're going to go crazy, all this talk. And then it was super underwhelming, and I'm sure that took a toll on him personally. And then also last year, or this past season that just went on, he had to come off the bench for a lot of this as well. I'm very confident in the fact that Bradley Beal, his money is taken care of. He is now in a new environment. I would hope he just leaves the ego at the door and just kind of is allowed to, and allowing himself rather, to just hoop, play his game, get buckets, help win games. That's all the Clippers are asking Bradley Beal to do. His expectations, I could say, are way lower, and I definitely think that's going to help him just as a person and with his mental and everything, just be better on the court. And real quick, before I finish the video, I do want to talk just slightly about the Phoenix Suns real quick. I like the fact that they're picking a direction. They're going on this mini youth movement with getting Jalen Green back in the KD trade, also drafting Molly Watch from Duke, the center. You know, they kind of just resetting instead of trying to just keep running at the same wall over and over again without changing anything up. Shout out the Chicago Bulls. But, you know, Phoenix fans, I think you should be happy about that. They locked in Book for another 2 years. Shout out Book for getting that bag. You know, you deserve it, definitely. Shout out Book. But I like the fact that they're picking a direction. They're pivoting. They're not just sitting and sulking like, oh, we messed up this trade. I guess we got to just figure it out until it works. No, they're saying, yo, we messed up. Bradley Beal, get gone. You know, no disrespect. You're getting your money. Shout out to you. Appreciate you. See ya. KD, same thing. You said you didn't want to be here because we included you in some trade rumors. My fault, bro. That's on us. Get him gone. Get him out of here. And I'm excited for this new series, or a new era. I don't know why I said series. This new era in Phoenix. I think it could be fun. I think we're going to see a lot of just Book go crazy and score, and that's my favorite type of Book to watch. So, yeah, I'm excited. Let me know what you guys think about this move, though, in the comments below. How good do you think the Los Angeles Clippers will be next year? Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave it a like, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. In the description, there's links to all my social medias, so make sure you follow me on all those to keep up to date with me. Catch y'all.